Hello, and welcome to another episode of ChargersCast. I am your host, Kirk Brewer, and for you regulars, as you know by now, ChargersCast is a podcast about everything Los Angeles Chargers. It's by fans, for fans. So appreciate you joining us for another episode. This week, I am joined by my friend to the podcast, my other friend to the podcast. We got two regular friends to the podcast, but this week we're swapping. Okay, last week we had Brennan. This week we've got Andrew Loya from Bolt Casa. Andrew, buddy, good to see you. Glad you had good holidays with family and loved ones, but we're back to talking football.
Happy to be back, man.
Yeah, let's do it. By the way, real quick, this podcast, we're going to go over Week 18, road game against Los Angeles. Man, that's old.
Yeah.
Las Vegas Raiders. And then we are going to roll into, technically speaking, Week 19, which is wildcard weekend. And our boys are in the show. So I want to give you a big salute to our boys, to you, Andrew, to Brennan out there working late tonight who couldn't join us.
And to all the Charger fans, anyone who's been here from however long ago, guys, this one's for us. We deserve it. We go through, and we need an ice cold beer to carry us through those deserts. But Andrew, dude, we're here. We're like here. We're at that spot. You know, Week 18's in the books. And when the season kicked off, long before the season kicked off, right, we hired Harbaugh. And then, you know, get Ortiz in. They start kind of tweaking the roster. And Mike's out and Keenan's out. And everybody's freaking out. And then, you know, we roll into the draft and free agency and training camp. And, you know, it's just this whole new Chargers era. And we're all hopeful, right? Because Harbaugh's got a proven track record. But you know, you don't know until you're there. And we're here. We're here, man, after 18 weeks of football and trials and tribulations and ups and downs and uneven offense and killer defense, which, by the way, our defense did finish number one after Week 18 for the 2024 season. They finished the number one scoring defense in the NFL. Jesse Menner, hats off, my man. Way to go, your rookie season. But we're here, and we're in the show. And not only are we in the freaking show, dude, but the stars friggin' aligned. And we were able to skip over the Steelers, who had the head-to-head with us from Week 3. But we were able to jump over those guys because the Bengals took care of the business that we needed them to take care of. And we got the 5th seed. And, you know, all you can do is play the teams in front of you. But I would love to hear anybody who would argue this point that the 5th seed for us or any other team is better than the 6th seed. I bet you right now Pittsburgh is not really freaking happy that they got to go onto the road in Baltimore and play Baltimore, who's been hot, versus getting to travel down to Houston and play in a dome to a team that won a pretty weak division this season. You know, they're 10-7. So that's kind of my let's kick the pot off. Let's celebrate. It's been a long time coming. Love to hear kind of how you're feeling right now, knowing our boys are in the show. I feel great, man. I kind of want to soak up this moment, and I don't want it to end. There's a part of me that can't believe it's here, and then there's another part of me that's I just don't want it to end. It's been such a long road. Now, in hindsight, I guess it feels like so long ago, but we just hired Harbaugh and this whole group of his team in the offseason. And there was some ups and downs, and you had the big picture of what's best case scenario with this season, worst case scenario with this season, and little by little, chop after chop, this team has just, in my opinion, exceeded expectations and just has blown me away. So at this current moment, as a fan,
I'm on cloud nine, and I've said it in previous pods. I haven't been like, I'm still young, but as a Chargers fan, the Charger football that I have seen right now, I'm the most excited. And maybe that's because I was a little young during the LT days, and even then I was ecstatic. But there's just something about right now with Harbaugh, Justin Herbert in his prime, and just the overall mold of what we've got in year one. I'm through the roof.
And I don't know if we could emphasize this enough. This is year one, right? The weapons, we've all questioned the weapons that Justin's had at his disposal. We knew that this roster wasn't going to be able to be completely made in the first season because of the cap hell that they inherited. You could just go on and on and on. And if you want to hear it, just go back to all the prior episodes of ChargersCast, preseason episodes of ChargersCast, training camp episodes. I would say if you look at this roster, we overachieved. But as optimistic fans, and personally a fan who I've seen Harbaugh, I've seen what he's done. I saw him at Stanford. I saw him at San Diego University San Diego, USD.
Yeah.
Okay. The church up on the hill in Mission Valley there with the blue dome. Okay. That is like lowest level division college, and his first head coaching job. And he took those guys to the top, man. So I've seen what Harbaugh's capable of, and he did it again. He did it again. He went from 5-12 to 11-6, and this is the first season of what I hope is at least a decade of this. I don't want to see this cut short. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but what we could achieve if we are able to keep this through Harbaugh or through Justin's prime, keep Harbaugh together. I know, eventually successful staffs, people get pilfered, but keep Justin and Harbaugh together. And then we got those bookend tackles. I mean, let Hortiz cook. Hortiz is proven. He's a chef. Okay. He's masterful. Man, the sky's the limit, but let's focus on the here and now. Okay. We had a game this week against the Raiders. Let's back up one step. The Bengals took care of business on Saturday and beat the Steelers. Okay, so now all we had to do is we had to take care of our business on Sunday. We were walking in now as the 5th seed. If we won, we kept it. If we lost, we're tied with the Steelers, and they had the tiebreaker. They were going to get the 5th seed. So the stars aligned. We're sitting in the 5th seed, and we're playing a division foe. We're playing the Raiders. No matter how abysmal that their season has been, they won their previous 2 games heading into this game, and they were playing for some pride, and it's a division game. And like we've said here dozens of times on the pod, you can almost take the records and throw them out the door when it's a division game. So we had to go in and be serious and take care of business. With the exception of a late scratch with Rashawn Slater, who I think they said he felt a little twinge in a knee or something like that. So out of an abundance of caution, they scratched him, moved Alt over to left tackle, kicked Pipkin out from right guard to right tackle, and moved Jamari in. Other than that, we played our starters. JK was playing, Justin was playing, all our receivers were playing, our lines, both sides of the ball. And we came in and we took care of business. We got a nice win.
Yeah, it was cool to see all the guys really just kind of everyone was a highlight reel, like all the way down to Disley catching 5 passes, 50 yards. Everyone on defense, every single person that had an assignment, they knew the assignment and they executed it flawlessly. It was a cool game to see. I think that it was nice not having Max Crosby there, kind of disrupting things. We got a little
Christian Wilkins.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a break there, but at the end of the day, people teams in those situations don't always capitalize. It doesn't matter how good you are as an NFL roster. It is the NFL. Like, that's not a guarantee. Like, you're going to come out and take care of business. Like, it's just not. And we
Andrew, historically, we've played down to our competition.
And what teams haven't? Like, yeah, some teams do it more times than others. But we really just played wonderful. Like, everyone. Like, Jerry Rice as our X position, that was crazy. Quentin Johnson playing his best game. Like, who is this guy catching the ball over the shoulder, contesting catch?
that one-hander.
Randy Moss is on our team.
Dude, I saw that ball and I'm like, there's no way QJ's catching that. Okay, the window's like razor thin, and then QJ's hands. We all know they're suspect at times, more times than not. If it's not a crossing pattern in the gut. Dude, he was balling yesterday. But he flat out, he balled out. And the one thing I will say, and you named Disley, and then, Ladd got his, JK got his.
We're missing Palmer,
right? Was he out?
No, he was out. I'm just saying in the conversation of these guys, like, just really stepping up and, like, doing their role.
Yeah, everybody did. And the thing that was beautiful, and I said kind of at the beginning of the pod, the stars have kind of aligned. And I would almost say that the stars aligned that we had to play our starters, and we went in and we took care of business. Because if you go back to last game and you go back to the last half of the Denver game, our offense has gotten in a rhythm. Okay.
Yeah.
And they were in a rhythm in that New England game where time of possession was 2-1. Well, guess what? Time of possession in this game, 2-1. It was basically 40 minutes to 20 minutes. We scored on every damn possession except the first two. And in fact, we missed the 51-yard field goal on the second possession. So we even had an attempt to score with all but one possession. So our offense, can carry that momentum into the playoffs. I'm a big believer in momentum. Okay, a lot of teams aren't, a lot of people aren't. I believe there's something there. We've all felt it in life, right? When things are going good, your mental attitude, your perspective, your work ethic, all those things carry you forward. You have setbacks, you question yourself. These are pro athletes, but they're still human beings. So I think that is a big benefit for us as well, that we had to go in. We had to take care of business. It happened to be against the lowly Raiders, which isn't a bad thing either, but we're carrying some momentum into the playoffs. We're peaking. Like, man, could you script it any better?
No.
Really? Could you script it? Harbaugh's a master, dude. He's a master. He's a whisperer of football teams.
Yeah, the Chargers can have good things too, guys. Like, and it feels weird. Like, it's all like the guys are playing at a very high level, like a high clip right now, as we're like the perfect scenario rolled out for us on the carpet as we go into the playoffs. It's awesome. Like, this is a wonderful feeling, and I don't know what to think of it other than this is awesome. As a Chargers fan, we're getting all these good presents right now before we go into the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. Merry Christmas.
And
right?
Then Dicker got that record, which was weird because the article is off the Chargers website.
So he surpassed Nate Kaeding?
Yeah, he surpassed his record, and there's not a post about it or anything. But anyways, he exceeded the single season scoring points record. This is only year 2 for Dicker with the Chargers. Wow, like, that's a phenomenal feat. And then Ladd did surpass Odell Beckham Jr.'s record for, at the time, it was 9 consecutive 50-yard receiving yard games. But Malik Neighbors, for everyone who's paying attention, he also was able to achieve that. So they both kind of tied at the end of the season.
I hadn't heard that. Okay.
Yeah, so cool for Ladd. Both guys kind of have those records, so that's pretty cool.
Ladd has proven again how masterful Joe Ortiz is, and how skilled he and his staff are at evaluating talent. I mean, you're never going to hit 100%. You just never are. But my goodness, the future's bright. Okay. We've got they're projecting like 77, 78 million, something like that, cap space heading into next season. And we know we've got some spots we still need to fill. We'll let Ortiz cook, but we got to appreciate what he's done already. When his hands he was basically, he walked in with one hand behind his back, and he had to make some hard decisions. And, between him and Harbaugh, they put together a roster that's able to overachieve and compete. There's not too much we can really talk. I mean, we could go on about the Raider game, but, I didn't take a whole bunch of notes. I have some thoughts down on my notes, but really not statistics, more than, a couple things I took note of, like how many possessions we scored on and the time of possession. But the bottom line with that game is we won a game we should have won, and we took care of business. Now we're in the playoffs. What are we going to do with it, right? A lot of people, once you get in here, if you don't make it to the Super Bowl, then you get this people who are like, oh, it was a wasted season. Well, if you've ever gambled, okay, from here forward, we're gambling with house money as far as I'm concerned. First season, look at the team that got taken over in the cap space, and we got 11 wins. Are you kidding me?
I know.
We got 11 wins this season, dude. And people could say, well, we were playing a last place schedule. Yeah, we were playing a freaking last place schedule, but that was the only schedule we could play. We swept the freaking Donkeys. We swept the Raiders. We had an opportunity to at least split with the Chiefs, and we weren't able to pull it off because of their freaking three-peat dark magic, right? But speaking of the freaking stars aligning, dude, the opportunity sitting in the 5th seed for us, if we beat Houston in the next round, to get the Chiefs and have a third shot at those guys. I'm just saying, if we get a third shot at those guys, that will be the cherry on top of my season. Win or lose, preferably win, but we're playing with house money. We're in the show. And I was watching a few different podcasts and television shows. Good Morning Football was one of them. Everybody, without exception, is picking the Chargers as the wild card team who has the highest probability to surprise people in this playoff.
Yeah, this is exactly the path that I wanted in the postseason. Like, this is what I wanted to see. This matchup, just because of the way that what I've seen from the Texans, I'm like, we match up well with them. They're honestly not that scary. CJ Stroud is in that sophomore slump. He's missing throws that he normally makes. That's a matchup that I want. And yeah, the odds are right now is we're favored in that matchup. Not really that surprised. By no means do I think this is an easy game. We'll get into this. Not a chance. But this is exactly selfishly what I wanted to see. And a quick shout out before we kind of move off of the Raiders game. Before we hopped on, I found this YouTube channel called Thunder Alley. I later found out that this Charger fan, he's a Colts fan, but he has a Chargers page. He also likes the Chargers, but I found out he's a Colts fan. This dude has an awesome YouTube channel. Like, he is wicked on the mic, and he puts out great videos. But for all you Chargers fans, he posted a video of the Raiders and Chargers game with like the all-22 kind of way of looking at it, where you could see the whole field. Holy smokes. It's one, we all know Justin Herbert's like a legit quarterback, yada, yada. But when you look at the all-22 in this game, it's almost unbelievable the things that he can do. In his video, you can literally see the windows, the way he reads progressions, and some of those throws in this video were just like, we've been watching Justin for 5 years now, but I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, that's our quarterback. It's a super cool video. So if you guys have a chance, go check that out. The YouTube's page is called Thunder Alley. It's wicked. I was like, thank you for letting us see this, because it is cool. Because it was a great game by all the receivers. Everyone played well. So if you guys want to get another look at just how good it looked on film, and as we go into this next game, like, if these guys play this way, whoo, sky's the limit. We're ready to go. We're ready to go toe to toe with these guys.
Yeah, well, and on Justin, I mean, he sees the whole field most of the time.
Yeah.
Once in a while, he's getting chased in the pocket or whatever, and he has to shut down half the field or whatever. But you give him, a couple seconds there in the pocket, he gets through his progressions and he's able to see the whole field. And dude, McConkey, man, that guy is quarterback friendly. As soon as the play breaks down, McConkey immediately goes into, okay, how can I help Justin? Okay, the play's broken down at this point, scrap the route. How can I get in Justin's vision and give him a viable target? Like on that 2-point conversion, right? That was insane.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And just think if we can add, another couple weapons for Justin in the off season. So,
and that's
check that out.
What was so cool about Quentin Johnson playing at the level that he did in this game, because this is exactly what we've been talking about, guys. Thank you, Quentin, for playing to your potential, sir, because this is the kind of stuff that we're going to be able to operate with. Help me to help you, the tandem. And then if we can have a consistency with Stone Smart, Will Dissly, J.K. Dobbins, that's how this whole thing works. So thank you, Quentin, because we got a glimpse at what this offense can do when he's on it. So hopefully it's a thing to come. We've seen him be hot and cold, but we've never seen him play like this, at least not to my memory. I think this is the best game he's played to date. So my hat's off to Quentin. That was an excellent performance, and it was wicked to see him and McConkey just tearing it up. I mean, McConkey's been doing it all season, but it was really cool to see the two work together.
Well, McConkey opened up a lot for him.
Yeah.
They were doubling McConkey a lot, which gave Quentin the opportunity, and he took advantage of it, right? That's where you got to have multiple threats. You can't just have one threat. And now QJ has to follow this up. Okay, this is the one thing about having that kind of success and then being subjected to fan opinions and criticism is, okay, now we know you're capable of it, QJ, and you are a number one pick. So let's continue to do what you're doing, whatever you're doing. Clearly you're making progress. Let's see that carry forward. Can you imagine a receiver room with McConkey, this weekend's QJ, and then whomever Ortiz is going to bring in this offseason to give Justin, legitimate threats to scare opposing defenses. So something to definitely look forward to as we roll into next season. But can QJ carry this on in the playoffs? I sure hope he can. I think he's going to give opposing defenses, Houston's going to be watching that tape. And Houston's going to be going, oh, shit. Okay, well, maybe we can't double McConkey. All right. So if nothing else, thank you for that, QJ, because you're going to give opposing defenses second thoughts about how they play us. So it was beautiful to see. I mean, the poor guy has been beaten down, and it's so easy when you're beaten down to not have the intestinal fortitude to persevere. But supposedly the team, in their environment, they rally around him. They believe in him. They let him know they've got confidence in him, and he's been able to persevere. So it was awesome to see him get this game. Now I just want to see him, carry that forward into the Houston game.
Yeah, everything's pretty wholesome about this season, like from the team building as Harbaugh comes in, because that's one thing a lot of people are kind of saying right now is there was a lot of doubters that were like, I don't know if Harbaugh can really come back to the NFL and do what he's done. And now all these people are like, he's proved us wrong. He's literally taken a bunch of guys that make millions of dollars and created a culture in a room that is about that plays for each other. And Quentin, like you just stated, is a player who had his head down, and this is the perfect team to rally behind him. Justin at the podium saying, yeah, it's a tough day at the office, but I'm going to keep feeding him. Like, next game up, and that's a true franchise quarterback leader. And look at QJ showing up. So this whole thing's just been awesome. A wholesome story for the Chargers.
Yeah, and hopefully we've all appreciated the journey to get here this season and not taken it for granted. It really has been enjoyable to work through the ups and the downs and kind of see how this team is evolving. Yeah. There's been some bumps and bruises in the offense, especially, right? To just see it evolve and get to where we are today with an opportunity to go disrupt the playoffs as a wild card. And Harbaugh has a way, man. There's a reason, and I just saw an interview with Joey again last week between the New England game and the Raider game, talking about why he took a pay cut, being here with Khalil, and why they're both still with this team at this stage of their careers where they could go anywhere and get paid and all of that stuff. It's real, okay? All the outsiders who are doubting Harbaugh could come in and pull it off. I don't think they were looking at reality. They were taking it and putting their spin on it versus just going, well, this and this and this equals this. Well, Harbaugh's proven,
this would be the one example that he couldn't do it. So that's what they were all saying. Like, can he do it? And it's like, well, this would be the only situation that he hasn't done it. We were all fighting and, clawing for him. Like, we want this guy. We know what he can do. And that's exactly what's happened. To the extent that it has is remarkable. And then look at the Raiders. Like, last year, the last game of the season, they're sitting there just talking all that smack, like, we whipped you, and look what came out of that season, and look what came, your season compared to ours. You guys, and just before, a couple hours ago, Antonio Pierce just got fired.
Yes, Antonio Pierce got fired this afternoon. We were definitely going to make sure that got mentioned. But, isn't it kind of full circle, right?
Dude.
Okay. We took a December spanking by these guys with Aiden O'Connell, by the way. At that time last year was their rookie, was he fourth rounder or something like that?
Yes.
And they just, literally spanked the crap out of us. It was ridiculous. It was almost bad. It was a comedy of errors that could have been in a movie somewhere. And look where we're at now. We sweep those guys. It's sometimes it's darkest before the dawn, right? And so we had to go through that to get rid of Staley and have the brass in the Chargers recognize, and I said this early on, I think before I ever even started the pod, it's like, this is finally the time. And this is why I think John Spanos has a lot more say today in the Chargers than he did in the past. I think Dean, his dad, is giving him a lot more say to kind of take over for his dad here in the not too distant future. And this is why I think John is a big reason that Harbaugh's here. And it has to do with realizing, look, we're in the LA market, and not only are we in California, in Southern California, where there's so many things to do outside of sports, but then look at all the sports we're competing with. We better pony up and actually show that we intend to put a winner on the field. And you can't do that by keep hiring these guys who are unproven. And so, thank you to the Spanoses. Harbaugh keeps saying that every post game in the locker room. He includes them. He thanks them. It's a full, from top to bottom. It's a team. It's a team, and Harbaugh's the glue of that team. It's really special. So I hope everybody's appreciated what it's taken to get here. Realize we're playing with house money, and so getting in the playoffs and having a playoff game, enjoy it. If we win it and get to go on to the next round, relish it, and let's see what these guys can do. Let's see what they can do. Let's kind of talk about this game against the Texans. We have a better record than the Texans, but we have to travel to Houston because the way the NFL playoff is structured, they won their weak division. And so they were 10-7, we're 11-6. We have to travel to them. Like you mentioned, I believe we are a slight favorite to go into their house and pull this game out. It's like 2 points or something, 2 or 3 point favorite. They're not playing great, but you also mentioned, Andrew, by no means, and I don't think Harbaugh's, this is a different team. This isn't Staley or whatever, Mike McCoy. But we certainly can't take these guys lightly. They're in the playoffs. We know what C.J. Stroud's. We know what Joe Mixon is. We're going to bring our game. We have to bring our game. If we're going to take care of business, Jesse Minter and his boys need to strap it up. The defense has been carrying us all season. They need to continue to do that, and then let Justin and the boys go eat.
Yep, absolutely. This team is, it's interesting. I went hunting for the Texans basically online. Like, what have these guys really been up to this season? It's interesting because they've got some good wins. They've got a win over Buffalo.
That was earlier in the season, though, was it not?
It was. But
they're 4 for 4 their last 8 games.
There we go.
And their 4 wins, all teams with losing records. And in fact, I think at least one of their losses is against a team with the Jets. I think they lost against the Jets.
Yeah, and I was looking at the schedule, and I was like, because I didn't want to look at the Tennessee game. Like, they didn't have their starters out there. And then before that, they had lost to Baltimore and Kansas City. I didn't want to look at that. So the game that I did go look at was the Jets game. I was like, I want to see the Jets game. And it was a little bit of a dogfight. At the end of the day, when I look at the Texans, I see a team that has a nasty defensive line with Will Anderson and I think, what is his name? Where are you, buddy? Danielle Hunter. These guys can really get after it. So if these tackles can hold up, that's going to help us out dividends. But we've really got to get the run game going in this game. Like, if we cannot run, it's going to be a problem. I think that's kind of where we were able to get success. Because I don't know if you guys really noticed, J.K. was in the game, but there was a lot of the time where we went empty set. And Herbert he would hike it 2 seconds, got it out. Like, he knew what he was doing. These guys knew what they were doing. But you're able to do that when the defensive line isn't crushing you. And I think that will be a difference in this game is we got a defensive line that can really disrupt this game. So the offensive line and the run game, I think, is just super pivotal in this game. Like, we have to be able to run. And if we got to get creative and use screens, something we haven't exactly done throughout the season. And what I mean by that is if you can't get a run game going, that's like a second way of getting the run game going. You get these really small short yard passes to kind of chip away. But I'm really hoping that we can get the run game going. Speaking of the run game, we don't know. Do you know what's going on with Gus Edwards? Because we just signed Ezekiel Elliott, and we might as well, I guess, unpack that for what it's worth.
Yeah, my speculation is, and it's truly just speculation, that maybe Gus's injury is worse than we maybe know, and that he might be out for, not ready for wildcard weekend and maybe longer. And so Zeke was out there. I'm not a big Zeke fan, never was, even in his prime, but definitely not now. But he's a veteran. He's been around, and he can get some tough yards. So if you need that kind of thumper, we'll see. But, if nothing else, he might bring a veteran presence as we, enter the playoffs. So I'm not going to poo-poo it or talk bad about it. Again, Ortiz has earned, in my opinion, a ton of latitude with the moves that he makes because he's done such an amazing job. And so he may be working something that we don't know he's working, bringing Zeke in. And if it may just be literally for a veteran presence for what otherwise is a pretty young team with its only playoff experience is giving up a 27-0 lead in the playoffs to the Jaguars and then getting their ass kicked. So it may literally be just for that.
We don't need Ezekiel Elliott to come in and run for 100 yards. We need him to just come in and get a couple here and there. Maybe get that first down short yardage if JK took a hard hit kind of thing. But between him and Kamani, I think we'll be fine. But I think the assurance aspect of it makes total sense. Like, I don't know what was out there on the market, but at the end of the day, I'm not going like, oh my goodness. Like, sure, you can come in and play that role. And that's what we need you to do. Isn't the fall off crazy? Like,
yeah.
Like when you look at his prime, like fan of him or not, he was pretty good. And it's like, what the heck happens to these guys?
He had a killer line in front of him in his prime. I used to claim I could run behind that line, and I'm not a runner. All right, that line was dominant. Just go back and look at that line. That line was best line in football back then. But getting back to the run game, we'll see what they do with Zeke. They're signing him to the practice squad, which of course that's the, get him in, get him some reps and see if he's ready to be elevated to the active roster. But by the way, Haskins has been playing good too.
Yep.
So he's been a nice little contributor here and there. So I think we're good in that department with or without Gus. But getting back to the run game, you mentioned we do need to get that going in this game. I would say it would be great if we get it going more than we have the last 2.5 games. But having JK back, we can see what he's brought to the offense, and we can see that the defenses are respecting him being in there and his running ability, his cuts, his vision, all of that. And so as long as we keep doing what we have been doing, which is not abandon the run, keep giving him the ball, let him get his 70, 80, 85 yards, whatever that's going to be that game, but give him enough to keep the defense honest. And then it looks to me like Roman has evolved this season, and he has adapted based on the skill set of this offense. And so he was trying to kind of maybe force it a little bit early on for the identity he wanted to be, and he started kind of realizing, all right, I need to shift this up a little bit. And it's working really nice, by the way. And part of that is we're passing more than we're running, but we're not abandoning the run to keep the defense honest, and they have to respect it. And when you've got a guy like JK in there, okay, he can break it at any time. So as long as you're feeding him, they gotta pull up, and they gotta respect that, because if they back up and start playing deep, we can just sit and gash him for 3-4 yards, and just keep chugging down the field. And so it's been a nice mix, and that's why we've gotten in the last 2 games 40 minutes to 20 minutes in time of possession, and we've kept the opposing offense off the field, which, by the way, keeps our defense fresh, right? So those guys can come out and do what they do. So I think, for me, the key to this game is keep doing what we're doing and impose our will on them. But they're going to try. D'Amico Ryans, he's a defensive guy. He's going to try and impose his defensive will on us. So it's going to be an interesting game to see. It's like I said, we got to come ready.
Yeah, watching them, I kind of was at times I'm like, man, they remind me a lot of the Buccaneers in a weird way. Like whenever they're like firing off on all cylinders, they can gash you. And when they get going, they're tough. Especially the run game. When they get going on the run game, I was like, shoot, that's exactly where we looked bad against Tampa. Like that's kind of the thing that I was seeing. I was like, I really hope that we can control that, because like I think it goes both ways. They're going to want to stop our run because they want to get to Herbert, and all the pressure wants to be in Herbert's hands, and vice versa. We want to eliminate their run, and we want to get after CJ. I think that there's no question of a doubt there's a huge difference, and people will argue with me, probably not. They think CJ is at the same level as Herbert. He's not. He really is not. There is a clear difference. And if we can get after CJ, and that's one thing if you've been watching the Texans, he has been a little bit of the problem. Like, he is not playing to the level that he has been playing. So it's just really important that we do that. But their run game, we got to make sure that we can control that. That's where they find a lot of success. And we do not want to recreate with a team that's pretty similar to Tampa, a Tampa situation. So the defense has really got to show up.
Yeah, our success on defense starts with a run.
Yeah.
In the offseason, before we signed JK, I couldn't believe Cincy didn't re-sign Mixon. And I'm like, oh, we need to get this dude. This guy's a really good runner. And so when Houston got him, I'm like, oh, shit, okay. They're already a really good team, and now they're adding this guy. So our success is going to start with stopping him, stopping the run, and then putting pressure with our ends on CJ so that he does make those bad decisions. It looks like he's been high on a lot of his missed throws this season. And, again, it's a sophomore slump. The kid's crazy talented. I mean, he's proven that. But he hasn't proven it over 5 seasons like Herbert has. That's why anybody who even tries to put him in Herbert's category is just absolutely fooling themselves. But, that's fine. Fool yourself all you want. We know, Herbert's proven it over 5 seasons now. Let's stop that run. Let's put some pressure on this kid. We've got all four of our edges are healthy, so we can cycle those guys in and out like we have been doing. Joey says he's getting better and better. That interview, I was listening to him after the New England game. He's like, I want to play in the Oakland game. It's actually, I'm getting healthier playing, and I need to knock that rust off. So he wanted to play in that game. He didn't want to sit. He thought sitting was going to be bad for him. So, I think if we can stop Mixon and then just keep the pressure, make CJ Stroud beat us. Yeah. He's capable of beating us if we don't hold up the other end of the bargain, which is, make him uncomfortable in the pocket. But we do have the number 1 defense in the league from scoring. I did look up one additional stat on them. After week 18, over the entire season, they averaged 22 points. It's 21.9, 22 points per game. Okay? We, as an offense, are averaging about 24 points a game. But our defense is averaging 17 points allowed per game. So our defense is going to be critical in the game. Absolutely critical. I think our offense, if we keep doing what we've been doing, we're easily going to put up, 24 or 30 points on these guys. Can our defense keep their scoring in check? By the way, going back to the Raider game real quick, that should not have been 34 to freaking 20. That game was a 34-13 game. That garbage touchdown at the end, I was pissed because it kind of skewed the statistics there.
I was pissed too.
If we hadn't allowed that freaking touchdown, we would have allowed less than 300 points on the entire season, which would have been like a crazy record going back like decades. Instead, we ended up at like 303 points allowed this season.
Yeah, I was pissed too. It's like, Tarheeb, and I hold you to a higher standard at this point, man. And I'm not like
a rook anymore. Don't go for that pick, dude.
That's Brock Bowers too, man. Like, you're better than that, Tarheeb, and I'm gonna hold you accountable. That was not good. But
it wasn't even close. It was.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, you don't get a slide. That was not good. Don't do that again. But he's been playing great. But I'm not going to sit here and
hopefully it was a learning experience and something that otherwise didn't cost us anything important other than some numbers on a spreadsheet somewhere. Yeah. But hopefully he learned from that. Make the damn tackle.
Absolutely. I think coming into this game as well, to add, is I think it's really nice having Jesse Minter doing what he does. And I think that if he's able to surprise Patrick Mahomes, I'm pretty sure he's going to have some looks for CJ Stroud. And another thing that I want to add is, do you guys know who CJ Stroud's quarterback coach his rookie season was?
I don't, but I'm trying to.
It is
the way you asked.
What's his darn name? I of course, when the pod's on, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Getting
But if
old
I'm,
like
if
me,
I'm sitting
dude.
on the couch, I'm like, oh yeah, blah blah blah.
Is it a former pro quarterback?
Is he the guy with the glasses? He was Herbert's original coach. Maybe not the original, but Shane Day. Thank you very much, Shane Day.
Oh yeah. His rookie season was Shane Day last year.
So
That's
who Herbert said. Like when Harbaugh said, "Who do you want, Justin?" Justin said, "I want my guy back, the guy that Staley kicked out of here." Well, that guy, when he left, went and he was C.J. Stroud's quarterback coach his rookie season, and we saw the success that C.J. had. We kind of see C.J. struggling now, so it's just another ace in our pocket. This guy has been he's a part of the development of CJ Stroud. So I think that's going to be another asset to us going into this game. We're going to know some tendencies. We're going to know some secrets. So it's a good thing to have.
Well, and okay, he was with Justin his second, third year, not his fourth, and then now his fifth. And Justin specifically requested him back. Now, Shane
Day
chose to come back. He didn't have to.
Oh yeah, things were great in Houston. He had this quarterback who was
so he chose to come back. What's that tell you, dude? What does that tell you? Justin's elite. Okay, Justin's crazy elite. Shane knows he's crazy elite, and he's like, "Oh no, I CJ, you're cool. It was good, but I got to go back with my guy." And look, Justin's doing Justin shit. So there's so many things like that, Andrew, that have gotten us to be where we're at today, like bringing a Shane Day back, keeping Ficken as a special teams coordinator.
Yes.
Instead of his son coming in with him.
Yes.
Just certain things that just the right moves have been made. And some of them you just kind of go, oh, cool, whatever. No, there's a very methodical path to get here today. So, Shane Day. I'm glad you brought Shane Day up. I'm a huge fan.
I have one other thing to add to the Shane Day thing, too, guys. There was like a clip early on in the season. If you guys really for those of you who, this is what I'm trying to say. A small clip of Shane Day talking about like why he came back. He said, I have a whole file, and the file's name of like quarterback play, why Justin Herbert's the greatest quarterback. And I forgot exactly how it says, but if he's the greatest quarterback in the NFL or of all time, but he has like a whole like coaching file on Justin, So I think that says a lot about Justin. He thinks very highly of him, and we saw how well C.J. Stroud's rookie season was. Still wasn't as good as Herbert. Just saying. Yeah. And another thing, I'm on a little bit of a tangent here.
Yeah.
But so Shane Day's first year was Justin's sophomore year, right?
Correct.
And that was the year that he actually. So all these people who are looking at Joe Burrow's MVP season, Justin's sophomore season was slightly better statistically all the way around than Joe Burrow's MVP season. And there's all this talk of, well, he has the 29th ranked defense, but this is an MVP thing. And it's like, well, Justin had the 30th ranked defense. It's just funny how but Justin's with the Chargers. So it's never viewed that way. But guys, and not to mention who was the best quarterback that year, it was Tom Brady, kind of as he was outing, playing with the GOAT. So I just wanted to say that, Justin is incredible.
I appreciate that, and please don't ever get me started on an East Coast bias topic in the NFL, because there's clearly an East Coast bias, especially with the media. I'm sorry, but it's true. And we could have a pod completely dedicated to just an East Coast bias that exists in the NFL. So, I feel you, dude.
I wanted to say that on the podcast because I just feel like we see it in the Charger bubble, but if for some reason there's anyone else watching, it's like, if you want to talk about real talk, you're saying MVP season about Joe Burrow and heck yeah, he's playing great. Justin did that already. He did that as a sophomore, and Justin's been here, and he's he's been scrapping and he's been consistent. And he's been playing this whole year basically hurt. I don't know if you guys noticed. He's still playing with some type of hybrid thing, brace on his foot still. And it shows in that footage that I was just talking about. Justin still at some points can't get off. He's still kind of throwing flat-footed just because you can tell the mobility's not 100%. And look what he's able to do. Sorry for the rant, guys. I just wanted to get that off my chest while I had the platform and an opportunity to brag for Justin.
This is why ChargersCast exists.
That's right.
All right. This is for fans by fans, so we can have fan rants.
That's right.
On this podcast, right? There is an East Coast bias. Period. End of subject. Okay. Part of the reason also is, Joe Burrow has had playoff wins and he's gotten his team, much closer to, the holy grail of a Super Bowl. And so, Lombardi trophy. And so he's going to get, and I'll give him that. He's going to get a little bit more of that perspective from the media that will hold people up on pedestals. And until Justin starts getting some of those playoff victories under his belt and showing that he's every bit of that and probably and then some, it's just, and he's not going to get it. And then it still never be 1-to-1 because of that East Coast bias that, you're going to get if you're playing in Ohio or New York or any of those East Coast, areas. You got to work your ass off like the Broncos in their heyday or the Chiefs these days or, the Niners back in the day. You got to go on, kind of almost start a dynasty to get the media to start, fawning praise upon you. So,
it doesn't help we have the Chiefs in our division. And if I'm being real, I think it's just also I think there's a lot of the football people look down on the Chargers. Like as a Chargers fan, that's how I feel and see it. He plays for the Chargers, So
there's that clown Acho.
Yeah,
he's made his whole name is being a Herbert hater. And then all of a sudden he's kind of starting to come around.
He's quietly on Justin's side now. He's not
no, dude,
sneaking his way over there.
Pick your side. You've made your bed. You got a lot of work to do to lose the clown label that you have earned being a Justin hater.
Yeah, nothing's changed with Justin, dude. It's what?
Yeah, I don't know what his beef is with Justin. Justin's a baller.
He just wanted something that wasn't there. As an analyst, he just he thought he saw something, but it's what did you see? What are you watching?
Justin doesn't have the big wins.
Yes.
Okay. But Justin was straddled with crappy defenses and crappy coaches. And I'm not going on about Lombardi and Shane Day because Justin put up some crazy numbers with those guys. And then look what Bo Nix, by the way, look what Bo Nix is doing with Lombardi as his offensive coordinator in Denver and Sean Payton as his head coach. So, okay, everybody was down on Lombardi. Justin put up some crazy ass numbers under Lombardi. It wasn't Lombardi. Okay, we found out. It was fucking Staley. Yeah. Oops, I let that one drop. It was it was Staley. So enough said on that. But we can definitely. This is what off seasons are for, where we can go on some of these rants about the Chargers not getting their just due. But here's what I want to see. I want to see us go take and make some damage in these playoffs. Okay, we may not make it to the Holy Grail. We may not make it to the big show. But I think we can do some damage. And I've been saying it for weeks now. I want that rematch with the Chiefs. I want us to be the one to stop them from getting their three-peat.
Heck yeah. Why not? I mean, we're here now, guys. So soak it up. Feel encouraged and as hyped as you want to be because we're here. We weren't here last year. We had 5 freaking wins. We're not only are we here now, we're in an opportunity to do what you just said. Get this win. We're more than capable of winning this game. We've played the Chiefs tough. That's the game I want. I don't want to go sit in cold weather with TJ Watt on my butt. I want to go toe-to-toe just because it's like Justin and Patrick, Clash of the Titans. Justin getting his opportunity in a game like that. There's no reason why we shouldn't be on cloud nine, soaking up every minute of this as Charger fans, as it doesn't happen often, and we're here, and it feels so good.
Yeah, we got to take care of business in Houston first, but just going back to this little rant session we were having.
Keep it going.
You want Justin to start getting his just due for everything he has done?
Yeah.
Go beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. Okay. I've always said it. I mean, I wouldn't be super upset if Mahomes had gotten knocked out for the season and we were able to win the division, but there would always be that, well, would we have won it if, right? So I'm always a firm believer. You want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Okay. So we're now in the big dance. We're in the playoffs. We're in the dance. Let's go take care of business this week. But if we are able to get in the position to play the Chiefs this playoffs and we can take those guys down, you will start hearing the Justin Herbert accolades, the Justin Herbert praise. Of course, you're going to hear the Jim Harbaugh. Oh my God, Harbaugh did it again. All hail Harbaugh. And shit, we'll just sit here and enjoy it as Chargers fans and wait for more of it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. As far as keys to the game, we've talked mostly about it. Okay. We got to stop Joe
Mixon.
Mixon. That's where it starts.
Yeah.
Okay. Got to stop Mixon. Our line, we've noticed this last year. This interior line has been just a problem all season. Well, these last 2.5 games, we kind of started figuring out how to help them. We've been going with some bigger sets. We've been having Fisk and Matlock in at the same time in like this wishbone looking thing that we'll do. So Roman's doing some things to limit the ability for defenses to take advantage of that weakness. So let's continue to carry that forward, give them help where we can give them help. Alton, he moved over to the left side after playing right side all season and just like didn't skip a beat. I think he got one penalty or something. So take care of business, offensive line, keep running the ball like we talked about. We talked about sustaining drives and all that good stuff. Just kind of do what we've been doing these last 3 weeks. If we can carry this momentum in, have sustained drives, keep CJ Stroud. I mean, the best defense is a good offense, right? So keep their offense on the friggin' sideline, right? Keep our defense fresh, keep their offense on the sideline. That's a great recipe for us. So our offense or our defense, man, these guys, it's an interesting. I haven't quite seen a defense like this where we give up quite a few yards. I mean, we give up a lot of yards, but we hold them to punts and we hold them to field goals and very few touchdowns. So Jesse and crew, you guys just keep being you. You just do you, man. I got nothing for the defense. You guys just do you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, hopefully there's something like we talked about earlier, something we can get a little sneaky and creative with having Shane Day and then Jesse Minter. Hopefully they can cook up some fun stuff. But like I said earlier, the thing that I've noticed this season with the Texans is the less success they've had in that run game, and where CJ's been having to kind of carry the offense is where they've crumbled, and they've just not been able to capitalize on these situations. And they're like, I'm watching these games and I'm like, look at this guy just not being able to get the throw, not being able to make it happen. Now, that said, you also, on the other hand, know CJ can make the throws. CJ can run. So this defense has been playing good. Let's play great. This is a winnable game, absolutely. But yeah, I think on the defense, that's just one of the more important things is we just and I know I'm a broken record right now, but they're when you look at their roster, they got IR all over the place. Like they're a hurt team, and that's the other thing. I don't want to keep ranting, but I was ranting even before this game happened, just because there's always that quarterback talk. But I was looking at their weapons, and I'm like, oh, man, Justin had all those weapons. I'm just saying. But even still, dude, you got Nico Collins. What are you struggling with? You got Dalton Schultz. They picked up Deontay Johnson, not to mention.
Yeah.
How about that? So
yeah, I'm not convinced that guy's a difference maker at this point. I'm in Baltimore.
No, not by any means. But
I will. Yeah, they got Nico Collins, but they are down
Stephon Diggs.
Tank Dell, right? He's on IR.
Tank Dell's gone now.
Yeah.
Even so, though, it's like, how many times have we seen our quarterback with less to nothing? And it's like, I'll take Bandy, I'll take the practice squad kids, and we'll ball out and make this competitive.
Bandy.
Dude, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's the stuff.
I like Bandy.
That's the thing that you get with Justin Herbert. And I guess I was saving, there's no better time than now. This is kind of my overall ending summary with the Texans game, guys. If you said Justin or CJ game-winning drive with all the pressure, banged up, whatever kind of adversities you want to throw in a quarterback, I'll take Justin to win that last, because let's say it's a close game. It's a low-scoring game. Defenses are playing great, and you need a quarterback to make it happen. Well, right now, you can call me biased, but I think Justin is that. It definitely has the edge and is that quarterback to do that. Not to mention, Justin has, I think since he's come into the league, pretty much the most walk-off game-winning scores of all the quarterbacks.
Fourth quarter comebacks.
The difference is his defense hasn't held up, guys, and now the defense is holding up. So I'll take my guy any day of the week, and that's kind of just the kind of bow I wanted to put on this game is I think that it is going to be a close game, and we got the quarterback to close it out.
Yeah, for me, as far as being in Justin's corner, it was that Raider game.
That was crazy.
When Rich Bisaccia was filling in after they chased Gruden off, and it was win or tie, and we're in the playoffs, right? That was the one Staley screwed up because they were basically playing for a tie, and Staley, I don't know if he had moral issues or whatever, but he called the timeout when the clock would have ran out and we would have been a tie and both teams would have made the playoffs. But that fourth quarter comeback by Justin, after that game, I'm like, oh, this kid's clutch. The throws he was making, fourth down comebacks he was making were absolutely insane. So ever since then, I'm like, Justin's got it. You just need to provide him the weapons. The problem is, while he had Mike and Keenan those years, how often were those guys on the field together? Rarely.
I think they played literally 4 games together.
It was stupid, right? So, yeah, one or the other is great, but we never had both of them, so we're in a good spot. QJ stepped up. I think you put a nice little bow on this Texans game, pretty good. Let's roll in real quick. Let's talk about our roster a little bit. I didn't note any new major injuries other than the late scratch on Rashawn. And I do believe that was completely knowing one way or another we're in the playoffs. And it was during warm-ups. He felt a little tickle or pull in a knee, and so he was just kind of last-minute scratch. Other than that, we're kind of getting healthy at the right time, relatively speaking. Yeah, Gus is down. We just lost Molden, which is a shame.
Yeah.
That kid had been balling out for us. But JK's back. He got a little dinged up in his knee this week, but he played through it, so I think he's good to go. Our boy Disley. Dude, Disley's having a great season. He's having an awesome season. So we've got our boy Disley. We've got our other quarterback back, Hayden Hurst. While he hasn't been contributing a whole lot, in fact, Stone Smart has really been contributing more than Hurst has. Looks like Gus is going to be down. We'll just kind of monitor that. But I think, as we talked about, that's why Elliott was signed, is because something's going on where Gus may not come back. Although he was back, we needed him back with Moulton going down. And so he got a game before the playoffs to kind of knock some rust off, which was awesome. Again, get him back, get him running around. So he'll be kind of ready to rock and roll in the playoffs. But roster-wise, I think we're as good as at this time of year, especially having a week 5 bye, which, man, talk about having a shitty bye. But at the time, it turned out as like, man, we got banged up pretty early. So it turned out to be a good bye. But we're kind of peaking again at the right time, getting, most of our boys healthy, including Justin. My God, did you see him on that 40-yard run? When he turned it upfield, it looked like a couple defenders were standing still. He just had another burst. And then that other defender ran and caught him on the 4 or the 3 yard line. But he's doing that in a brace.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like our odds. I like our odds, and I like the health of our roster at this point, coming and competing. Are you aware of any other roster topics of discussion?
There's just a couple of things I want to say. I saw a report that Rashawn did practice today. To the extent of that, I don't know. I don't know what that means. If he's working off to the side, I just saw.
He doesn't need to practice.
I just saw a quote. Harbaugh said that today he practiced. That's a good sign that he's probably going to be out there for that game. And I want to add, this is the kind of game where it's like, dude, if you're at 30%, get your ass out there. Let's go. I don't care.
He'll be playing.
Play till
Even if
it rips. All right, then you gave it your all. Justin's been doing it all season. I think that's the status quo for this team right now. You're going in. Limp your ass in there. Let's play with everything we've got. And let's do it. Do you know what was going on with Denzel Perriman's status in the last game? Is it still a growing thing? Just aggravating?
It's lingering groin. And man, I tell you, you can see the difference when he's playing and when he's not playing.
Yeah.
So maybe again, knowing we were already punching our ticket into the playoffs, this might have been one. It's like, all right, Denzel, yeah, we need to win this game, but we need you more in the playoffs than we need you here. And by the way, it also helped Colston get a few more reps this season, so that's probably not a bad thing.
He was the next.
Let's hope.
He was the next one I wanted to bring up. I don't think he played in that game, and forgive me, guys. I just don't.
He did play in the Raider game.
He did.
Colston Jr. Yeah.
How'd he do? Because I honestly don't
adequate.
Okay.
I mean, he didn't make any splash plays or anything.
Okay.
But he played adequate. And then one other player I'd like to mention who I thought was going to end up contributing this season, maybe more than he has, but he still contributed. Tony Jefferson.
Yeah.
Talk about when we're getting a little thin at safety. With his years of experience, he maybe lost a step, but he's gained 2 steps in. And we saw it in the preseason, right? He had 3 interceptions in one game or something crazy. So keeping him around has paid dividends as well. He has made some really important critical plays for us on defense. So really happy to have him on the roster.
It's a hallmark year. Elijah Molden coming back to a team, getting another shot, feeling good, playing good, quote, loving football again. And then Tony Jefferson, kind of the same thing, but just getting another opportunity. Harbaugh has this really great way of doing all these things. It's a hallmark view of the Chargers.
And Ortiz, right?
Yeah.
Again, that goes.
Yeah, exactly.
It goes to Ortiz, and dude, Jefferson was a scout for the Ravens last season. He was out of ball, but that just goes to show you, he's still an athlete. And, he might be better now having spent a year as a scout, as far as his knowledge of the game and, assessing athleticism and other players he's playing against, that sort of thing, kind of knowing where their weaknesses are. So, a player I just wanted to kind of throw out there as well, that thank goodness he's on our roster as we're getting ready to make a playoff run. So, AFC West standings. The Chiefs got spanked 38-0, but it was their second and third string players.
JV varsity.
yeah. But that being said, it's still the NFL, and those guys had some pride on the KC side, and the Broncos made it look like it was JV against varsity. They didn't let up. It was an important game for the Broncos, and they showed up and they took care of business.
I love that. I love that they went there and they kicked their ass, and they like kept pouring it on them too. I love that.
Yeah, beautiful. And they had the deal, right? Win and you're in. So they didn't leave it up to chance. They won. They're in. They punched their ticket for the 7th seed. But the Chiefs are still the 1 seed. That's why they rested all their starters. So they finished the season 15-2. Chargers, second place, AFC West. What a difference a year makes. We are now 11-6, and we clinched the 5th seed in the playoffs this year. Oh my goodness. It's great to have Harbaugh. And the Donkeys finished 10-7, punched their ticket. So 3 of the 4 teams in the AFC West are playoffs bound. How about that? And this division is going to be competitive for years to come. Sean Payton, Bo Nix proved he can play. The Chiefs are going to chief until they don't. And so this is going to be a fun division with Harbs and the Chargers and Herbert. So, and then last but not least, the Raiders raidered one last time. And they finished the season. I mean, how Raiderish do you have to be? You hold the number 1 pick overall, then you go win 2 games, and you drop to like the 6th pick, and then you get spanked by a division rival last game of the season, and they're still, they're going to be picking like 6th or 5th or something like that. Finished the season 4-13, and then they fire Antonio Pierce today too. So,
yeah.
Sorry, Antonio. It is what it is. You've got Tom Telesco as your GM, and
hey, Brandon Staley might need a job. So
Telesco tends to be fond of Brandon.
Let's get the band back together in Las Vegas, huh?
In Las
what
Vegas.
do you guys say? Get some vengeance. Give it a try.
Viva. Yeah, or does it be like Muerte Las Vegas?
Dude, I might be repeating myself for anybody who's listening. I don't know if I said this last time, but maybe I did. When Russ signed with the Broncos, like, remember when everyone was talking about like, oh, the AFC West is just going to be insane. That didn't happen then, but like now it's happening.
Yes.
And like this is like what we thought it was going to be a couple years ago. And Bo Nix is just getting better and better, which is,
he's a baller.
Yeah, guys, like take it for what you will. The Broncos they're a decent football team and their defense is great. And Bo Nix, like I just said, he's getting better and better, and I kind of like it. I like the idea of competition.
Well, Harbs, right? Competition welcome, and I think that includes external competitors, right? He wants to bring it on, and we have to ask ourselves as fans, do you want to be in a weak division year in and year out and continually make the playoffs, but maybe not achieve, the holy grail of a Lombardi? But you're punching your ticket every season because your competition sucks? Or do you want to be a pretty well, calloused, hardened team because your season, kind of like the AFC North, right? The team that usually makes it out of the AFC North, they've survived the gauntlet.
Yeah.
And you better watch out for that team, right? Whether it's the Steelers or Cincinnati or, once in a blue moon, the Browns, and of course Baltimore. So I say bring it on. If you want to be the best, you got to be the best. And we are compiling a team that other teams should be worried about.
In football terms, I would call the Chiefs a dynasty. What say you,
Yes,
Kirk?
they've achieved it.
With that,
sure.
Okay, now how cool is it? Everybody's got to fall. Just adds to how much more cool it would be if now the Chargers are the ones that dethrone them, and then we take the throne. I think that just makes this whole winning thing that much cooler.
Yeah. Don't underestimate the Powder Blues, mofos.
Yeah. Mofo.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Mofos, powder blue's coming for you.
That's right.
All right, man. We're at that time of the pod. Unless you got any last tidbits to drop on the folks.
I don't think so. I went on a few rants today, guys. I think I got everything off my chest from the comparisons to this and that. I think I said it all.
Playoffs, baby.
Yes.
Playoffs. We're in the playoffs. Harbaugh has a way of getting his teams up and ready to play. So playing with house money. Let's enjoy this. By the way, we are the first game played wildcard weekend. So we play Saturday, and we're the first game of wildcard weekend. 4:25 East Coast time, I believe, is kickoff. So my time and your time is going to be 2:25. LA time, I believe, is 1:25. So we are the first game to kick off the 2024/2025 playoffs. Bolt up, babies. Bring it. And for all you diehards who are going to make the trip to Houston, be loud. Wear it proud. Loving it. Let's talk about game predictions. Last week's real quick. We'll just run over them real quick.
Yeah, how's it been going over there?
What's that?
How's it been going over there? Give me some of these game predictions.
It's going good.
Okay.
It's going good. I haven't nailed one exact yet, but getting close. Last week I had us spanking the Raiders 28-10. Turned out to be 34-20, which I would still call really is 34-13. So that's pretty close, relatively speaking. Underestimated our offense and didn't plan on a garbage touchdown at the end of the game. Tarheeb, don't let that happen again. Okay. And Brendan was 24-14, so he was a little further off than I was. Going into Houston, man, you haven't been here for a couple weeks, so I am going to give you the honors.
I'll be honest, I haven't put any thought into this, so
all right.
I'm rolling with this as it's coming out of my mouth.
Al dente.
I think this is going to be a low-scoring game to some extent. I think it's going to be a defense on both sides of the ball. So I'm kind of picturing it. I'm going to say a 24-17 Chargers win. And I just want to add, I got to just jabber on, I think it's more likely that our defense gets in control and they don't actually get closer to that 17, just vibe-wise talking here. I think if they play well, they'll get to 17, but I think there's a good chance if we show up and play our best ball, we can keep them even lower than that. Call me crazy.
You've been gone a couple weeks, so you definitely have some latitude to just kind of roll, all right? Just so you glad to have you back and just you just go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I put a little thought into this. And I would love to see what you're talking come to fruition. I'd love to see our defense take over this game. I think they're more than capable of taking over this game, but it is a playoffs game. Okay. And you get in playoffs, a lot of times it can turn out kind of to be one of those almost division game feeling type of deals. So I thought it might be a little more high scoring than you. We do have some offenses that can put some points up. So I've got the Chargers winning by 5, 28-23.
I love that.
Okay. I would prefer it be 28-3. But I'm giving Houston some scrappy points that, look, this is sudden death playoffs. They'll be, kicking and fighting and scratching to not stay home after this game. So that's what I'm 28-23, but we pull it out. Justin does what Justin does, and somebody on defense steps up and gets a stop late in the game when it's critical.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Well, hey, Andrew. Welcome back, buddy. Welcome to 2025. Happy New Year. We're in the playoffs. Go Bolts. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. That's another episode of Chargers Cast. That is a pre-wildcard playoffs edition of Chargers Cast in our first season as Chargers Cast 2. So super, super excited. Guys, bolt up. And Andrew, who's got it better than us, baby?
Nobody.
Buddy. See you guys next week.
4 seconds left in the game, but this is likely the final play that matters. End zone wide open. What a night for Mike Williams. And the Chargers have their first lead of the night.
Hi, I'm Kirk Brewer, the creator and host of Chargers Cast. I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Chargers Cast. We really appreciate you engaging with the podcast. When I created Chargers Cast, it was intended to be a podcast about everything Los Angeles Chargers from a fan perspective. It's by fans and for fans. So it's for you, and we really appreciate you being here. If you haven't done so already, please go down below, leave a comment, give us some feedback. We really love to hear from you. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and click the little bell so that you get notifications when new content drops. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to Chargers Cast. And who's got it better than us? Nobody.